Imagine for a moment, you're a sharp, successful individual, highly intelligent, perhaps even an expert in your field. You pride yourself on your critical thinking, your ability to spot inconsistencies, and your general shrewdness. Now, imagine falling victim to a scam, a sophisticated, well-orchestrated scheme that leaves you financially devastated, emotionally drained, and wondering how someone as smart as you could have possibly been tricked. It's a scenario that plays out far more often than we realize, and it challenges a deeply ingrained misconception, the idea that only gullible or less intelligent people fall for cons. The truth, as science reveals, is far more complex, humbling, and universally relevant. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating, sometimes unsettling, science behind why even the brightest among us can fall prey to elaborate schemes, and what we can do to protect ourselves. Welcome! This isn't about blaming victims or questioning intelligence. It's about understanding the intricate dance between sophisticated manipulation and universal human psychology. Scammers aren't just targeting the vulnerable, they're exploiting the very fabric of how our brains are wired to think, feel, and make decisions. And in an age where technology, perhaps even artificial intelligence, is making scams more convincing and pervasive than ever before, understanding these mechanisms is not just useful, it's essential for everyone. So let's dive into the core reason why our intelligence, far from being a shield, can sometimes be a subtle vulnerability: our cognitive biases. Think of cognitive biases as the brain's mental shortcuts. They're incredibly efficient, helping us navigate a complex world without having to analyze every single piece of information from scratch. But like any shortcut, they can sometimes lead us down the wrong path. Consider optimism bias, for example. Most of us tend to believe that good things are more likely to happen to us, and bad things are more likely to happen to others. We overestimate our positive outcomes and underestimate risks. For an intelligent person, this might manifest as a belief that I'm too smart to be tricked, leading to a dangerous sense of perceived invulnerability. This overconfidence can cause us to drop our guard precisely when we need it most. Then there's the authority bias. We're naturally inclined to trust figures of authority, whether they're experts, officials, or even someone who just appears to be in a position of power. Scammers are masterful at impersonating these figures, creating an immediate sense of legitimacy that can override our critical thinking. If an email seems to come from your bank or a government agency, even if there are subtle red flags, the inherent authority of the sender can make us less likely to question it. And what about the scarcity principle or urgency effect? Act now, limited time offer, only a few spots left. These phrases trigger an immediate fear of missing out, pushing us to make hasty decisions without adequate time for deliberation. Our brain interprets scarcity as value and urgency as a reason to bypass our usual careful vetting process. A scammer knows that if they give you time to think, you might just see through their scheme. Perhaps one of the most fundamental biases at play is the truth default theory. Our brains are wired to believe first and question later. It's a necessary social glue, allowing us to interact effectively without constantly doubting every statement. But scammers expertly exploit this default setting, presenting information in a way that our brains are naturally inclined to accept, making the questioning process an uphill battle. Beyond these mental shortcuts, a powerful current runs through the scammer's playbook: emotional manipulation. Strong emotions can temporarily impair higher-level brain functions, making it incredibly difficult to think rationally. Scammers are experts at tapping into our deepest human feelings.
They might ignite fear: fear of losing your money, fear of legal trouble, fear for a loved one. Or they might appeal to greed, promising unheard-of returns on investment, a quick path to wealth. Sometimes it's loneliness, as seen in romance scams, where isolated individuals are showered with attention and affection, building trust that is then cruelly exploited. Or they might leverage our compassion, fabricating elaborate stories of distress to solicit financial aid. When our emotions are running high, our rational defenses are often at their lowest. These biases and emotional triggers are often woven together through the art of social engineering. This isn't about hacking computers, it's about hacking people. Social engineering is the psychological manipulation of individuals into performing actions or divulging confidential information. Think of pretexting, where a scammer fabricates a believable scenario to gain your trust and information, perhaps pretending to be from tech support or your bank. Or phishing and spear phishing, those deceptive emails or texts designed to look legitimate, urging you to click a link or share sensitive data. even affinity fraud, where scammers infiltrate trusted social or community groups, exploiting the inherent trust within those circles to defraud members. These tactics aren't about brute force, they're about subtle, insidious persuasion. And while intelligence doesn't confer immunity, it's also important to acknowledge that there are other factors at play that can increase vulnerability. Research, particularly in older adults, suggests that certain neurological changes, like reduced gray matter volume in specific brain regions, can affect scam susceptibility, independent of general intellectual capacity. Furthermore, situational factors like social isolation, significant financial stress, or even a sudden desire for quick financial gains can lower anyone's defenses. This brings us to a crucial point often overlooked, the issue of victim blaming. There's a natural human tendency, sometimes called the just world hypothesis, to believe that bad things happen to bad people, or that victims must have done something foolish. This mindset is not only deeply unfair, but also harmful, compounding the trauma for those who have been defrauded. It's vital to remember that falling for a scam isn't a sign of foolishness. It's a testament to the sophistication of the scammer and the universality of human psychological vulnerabilities. So, how do we protect ourselves in an increasingly complex and deceptive world? The key is to move beyond mere awareness to building robust decision architecture, a proactive approach to safeguarding our minds. First, cultivate intellectual humility. Recognize that you too are susceptible to biases and emotional manipulation. Your intelligence is a powerful tool, but it's not an impenetrable shield. Acknowledging this is the first step to true vigilance. Second, embrace the power of the pause. Scammers thrive on urgency. If you feel pressured to act immediately, stop. Take a deep breath. Any legitimate offer or request will withstand a delay for verification. This pause gives your rational brain a chance to catch up and overrides those urgent emotional impulses. Third, independently verify everything. Don't use the phone number or link provided in a suspicious email or text. If you get a call claiming to be from your bank or a government agency, hang up and call them back using the official number from their website or a trusted source. A simple Google search of their official contact details can save you from a world of trouble. Finally, consult your trusted network. Before making any significant decision, especially one involving money or personal information, talk it over with a trusted friend, family member, or a financial advisor. An outside perspective, unclouded by the immediate emotional pressure, can often spot red flags that you might miss.
The science is clear. Smart people fall for cons not because they lack intelligence, but because they are human. They possess the same cognitive wiring, emotional landscape, and social instincts as anyone else, which can be expertly exploited. By understanding these mechanisms, practicing intellectual humility, pausing under pressure, independently verifying information, and leaning on our trusted communities, we can build stronger defenses and better protect ourselves from the ever-evolving tactics of deception. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay safe.